screen displays the Talks with podcast intro. Followed by Ciego Supreme's logo.
Hello, everyone out there. It's Abisoye
The scene
Lana here
transitions
again
to the lady
at
host.
the Talks with podcast. Our Instagram handle, as
She is
everyone
dressed in a
knows,
beautiful
is
pink
the
blouse
Talks
and wears
with
gold on
Pod,
black braided hair.
and on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
She is
where
seated
the
calmly
Talks
and
with
poised.
podcast. You know, as I always say, there's so many conflicting voices in the world, and Talks with Podcasts, we dare to just drop our godly perspective into the ocean of conversations. So here we are today, and this month of October is Vision Awareness Month. I've got a very special guest with me today. It's Adeniyi Owode. He's joined us all the way from the UK. I won't go into specifics of his hometown, but he's here from the UK. Welcome, 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 Niyi.
All right.
So excited to have you here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. So just a few introductions. Adeniyi Owode is online. He has his social media handle, and I'm going to spell that. Although I know that, they would have that up as well at some point. It's Ciego, Ciego, Supreme, SOUP, right?
That's
Soup.
right. Yeah.
Supreme on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok.
That's
And do you want to share with us why it's Ciego Supreme before we jump right in?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks once again.
The camera shifts to
Ciego
Ciego, who
Supreme,
is
you wonder
comfortably
what
seated.
that means.
Mhm.
The word ciego means blind in Spanish.
In Spanish,
And I
Ciego.
just thought I could put a twist to it.
He wears a
by
white,
putting
short
the
sleeve
word
round neck top with the
supreme.
bold black
Mhm.
inscription.
It's
VIP
supposed
is
to be
VIP.
supreme, as in the ultimate. But because of my flair for cooking, of my culinary art, that's where the word
Soup
in supreme, so I
comes
was just kind
from.
of like, playing around with
A play on words.
The scene
Yeah,
changes
yeah.
to a close-up of the
I love
lady
that.
host.
That's where Ciego
Okay.
Supreme came from.
Ciego Supreme. Okay. So Ciego Supreme is on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So we're excited to have you, Niyi, here with us today. And as I said, October is Vision Awareness Month in the US. So the stars aligned perfectly and beautifully for us, to do this today. So you are a VIP to us here on the Talks with Pod, a very important person, obviously, but you're also visually impaired, a visually impaired person, right? I see on your t-shirt, it says VIP is VIP.
That's right.
So just as we start, and I'm going to stop talking so we can hear from you, so that the listeners can get acquainted with you. Tell us your story, and feel free to start from the beginning.
Okay.
But know that we have questions and we only have an hour.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just not
The
sure
scene
I'll be
changes
able
to a close-up
to,
of Ciego.
Fit it all in.
fit it all in 1 hour. I don't think I'll be able to do 1 hour, but I'll try my best.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for having me once again.
You're welcome.
My name is Niyi, as you know, and I'm visually impaired.
Mhm.
Well, that's just being politically correct. I'm blind.
Mm.
And if I say visually impaired, you might just be wondering, can he see partially?
Can he
or-
see a little bit? Yes. That's
yeah,
so true.
So,
Mm.
because as it is right now, I'm looking at you, or I might be looking at the camera, and you will be wondering if I'm able to see you,
To see.
right? Because you think I'm seeing you. No, I'm not.
Mm.
So I get that question a lot of times. And maybe because of my stealth, how I move about, and my dexterity in doing things,
Yes.
people tend to wonder if I'm really blind or not. you know. So sometimes my kids joke around the house and say, "Oh, daddy's just lying. I know he can see."
And you've got three kids, right?
No, two
Two.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gave you a bonus child. Maybe that's me.
The
Back to
scene cuts to a
sender.
wide shot showing both
Did you
Ciego
just
and the
say back to
host.
center? I
Ciego's
love
outfit
it.
is fully
It's like,
visible,
no
paired with
more
a colorful,
kids. Okay,
custom-made
sorry.
Asahokia fabric. The scene changes to a close-up of Ciego.
So, well, I lost my sight to glaucoma,
Mm,
and maybe for the benefit of those that don't know what glaucoma is,
yes.
glaucoma is actually an ailment caused by uncontrolled increase in intraocular pressure. That's the pressure in the eye,
Mm,
and most times, if it's not
caught.
um, caught
Caught.
on time
Yeah.
or treated on time, it could lead to blindness.
Mm,
And if you like, you could call um, glaucoma stroke of the eye,
mm.
right? It's just like picture having someone living with high blood pressure or hypertension. If it's not controlled, it may lead to stroke.
To stroke.
And God
Or
forbid, stroke may lead to
even
death.
death, I was going
So
to say.
for
Yeah.
for glaucoma, when the intraocular pressure goes up, um, it starts to destroy the optic nerves.
Hmm.
So you have like hundreds of millions of those nerves, and when the pressure is high and it doesn't go down, it begins to cut off those nerves from hundreds of millions to tens of thousands till eventually nothing.
None.
Picture an HDMI cable,
Mm.
and it's not sending signal.
Signals.
So it's actually that I can't see. I can't see, but it's just that my eyes can see you, but my brain can't
Can't
interpret the message my eyes sending to the brain.
Oh.
So that's actually what glaucoma causes and what glaucoma is.
So is that why your eyes are wide open?
The scene
Well,
changes to a close-up of the
my
lady
eyes are
Or
host.
is
wide
that or,
open.
or
I
is
can
that
shut my
or
eyes.
is that ignorance
No,
speaking?
no.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking, with you, and it's
The scene
only
changes to a close-up of
instinctive
Ciego.
and polite to face you when I'm talking with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I can create a mental picture of you, like you actually seated right in front of me, so
Yeah.
I can actually just picture you and look at you.
Got it.
But a lot of times, I shut my eyes to actually soothe the pain. And one of the symptoms
Oh,
of glaucoma, sometimes it comes with pain, and sometimes it
sorry to
doesn't.
hear
You
that.
have
Yeah.
the painless type and you have the painful type. And unfortunately, without whipping any sympathy for me, I have lived with the condition for almost all my life. It was the first diagnosis was in 1994.
How old were you
Yeah,
then? Like a teenager?
yeah, I was a teenager.
Mm.
So and then first of all, let me backtrack.
Please.
When I
Yeah.
was much younger,
Mm-hmm.
um, I used to see rainbow halos, and that's one of the symptoms of glaucoma. When you're looking at lighting and you see,
Halos.
yes, rainbow
Yeah.
halos,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
so around lighting, I saw that, and it was anytime I took ill. I mentioned it to my mother, but she probably didn't think it was anything
Yeah.
serious,
Yeah.
right?
It was
So
dismissed.
yeah,
Yeah.
was dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
So by
Mm.
1994, my left eye was a bit clouded, so I could see partially with it. So I told her that, oh, look,
Mom.
I
Yeah.
can't see very well in my left eye, and I'm beginning to see rainbow halos in the right eye. So that was where I got her attention, and she was concerned, and she had to refer me to an ophthalmologist. An ophthalmologist is an eye specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so we know, the range for normal intraocular pressure is from 8 millimeters of mercury to about 20 millimeters of mercury. That's the normal range. Anything on 20 and above, you're on the brink you stand at risk,
That's a risk. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like for normal blood pressure, where you have maybe 160
Mm-hmm.
to 120, 80 or something, anything 130, 90,
Higher
that
than
person
that. Yeah.
stands at risk. So I went to see the eye
Okay.
specialist. She checked the pressure in my left eye. I think it was about 33 millimeters of mercury, while the right eye was about 28. Now I can't remember. It's been a long time. So that called for concern. I was
Mm-hmm.
referred to another eye specialist for a second opinion. We
Mm-hmm.
got there, the pressure was still high. So I was put on topical medication to control the pressure,
Hmm.
but it wasn't controlled. So after about a month, in fact, the eye specialist, the ophthalmologist, got crossed with me. She probably thought I wasn't telling the truth, that I was using my medication, but I couldn't argue with that.
Right.
I was quite judicious with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, we did that for a couple of months, and by 1995, she recommended I had a surgery, and
Oh
that surgery
boy.
is called a trabeculectomy in my left eye. I had one in my left eye, and at some point in time when that surgery was held, according to what they told me, because at that time I was dead. I didn't know what was happening. It
Wow.
all happened like it was like a flash.
Hmm.
The last thing I remembered was I was asked to take deep breaths, for the general anesthetics to take
To
effect.
take effect.
And the
Mm-hmm.
next thing, I woke up with a sharp pain. That was when I knew the surgery was over.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like a second. Until tomorrow, I cannot account for that or those 2 hours. I mean, that 2 hour period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then in 1996, I had another surgery.
Was that the first surgery? Was it successful then?
Yes, it
The
was.
scene
It
changes
was.
to a
was.
So
close up
you
of the lady
had
host.
some vision again. Was it then still cloudy? Did you still see the halos? Did you see was it better?
Um, the answer is no.
The scene
Mm.
changes
The
to a close
vision
up of
was
Ciego.
not better. The unfortunate thing about glaucoma is the damage is irreversible.
Mm.
Once
So
the
it wasn't.
nerves are
So what was?
damaged,
I guess what? And I'm sorry to cut you off.
yeah.
I guess the question is, what was the essence of the surgery if it was not meant to be corrective?
Okay, the essence of our surgery was to stop the eye
Mm.
from going blind
Any further
completely.
damage? Got it. Okay.
Yeah, to stop any further damage.
Mm-hmm.
So the surgery worked. The pressure was controlled. It was maintained. It was stemmed at about 8 millimeters of mercury for a long time, till 1996, where I had the second surgery in my right eye, and that was also successful. So I think after about a year, it relapsed.
Mm.
The pressure started going up again in both eyes.
Were you warned about that, or were you told about the possibility of that happening?
No, I wasn't warned. It
Mm-hmm.
was not meant to relapse,
Mm.
but for whatever reason,
It did.
it did in both eyes. So by 1998, I had another surgery in both eyes at the same time,
Mm.
and that also was fine. So by 1999, it relapsed again. And from 1999 till date, I've lived on topical medication, that's instilling eye drops in both eyes
Mm.
to keep the pressure down. Now, the sad part of it is this: even when the sight is gone,
Hmm.
the pressure does not go down.
And then the pain. You mentioned that very briefly.
Yeah, like I said, for some people, they don't feel any pain, but unfortunately, for me, I feel that pain, and that pain is 24 hours of a day,
Mm.
even when I'm sleeping.
Mm.
So as I speak with you right now, the pain is there.
Oh.
So I had to actually kind of like, build like a defensive mechanism for myself whereby I have to engage myself in physical activities or
Mm.
mental activities to take that pain
Pain
or to
away.
take my mind off the pain because the pain never goes. It's always there. So by I said from 1999
Nine.
when the
The third surgery
no
for
no
both
second
eyes.
surgery
Oh,
okay, let's put it say third surgery for
third
both
for
eyes.
both
Yeah.
eyes. Yeah,
So in
because you
total
had
I had four.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and
Mhm.
1999 I managed it, maybe due to some ineptitude or whatever by some
The medical personnel.
or maybe some clinics, so to
Mm.
speak, or maybe due to fake drugs, the pressure wasn't very controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So by 2007, I noticed I couldn't see in the left eye anymore,
Mm.
and my vision in the right eye
Right eye.
was very bad. So by 2007, I had to stop driving
Mm.
because I used to drive and I used to kind of like, rush home to before it got dark.
Dark. Mm.
So I stopped driving at night. Eventually, I had to stop driving because I was actually involved in,
A car
road
accident.
accidents and stuff and all that. So I had to stop. So I saw a doctor at a hospital in central London, and she told me because of the surgeries I'd had in both eyes, it was a risk, doing another surgery.
Another. Yeah.
And
Mm.
so she said it was a 30% chance of stopping the damage, not even repairing it.
Yeah.
So I thought about it that I didn't think I was ready to take that risk.
Risk.
And then thank God I found Christ and I was a Christian. So I held on to my faith and I said, look,
Mm.
rather than, put myself under the knife again, let me just believe God would do it. So I started exercising my faith. I was praying. I had word from church meetings that
Yeah.
God was going to restore my sight, and I held on to that for a very long
Long
time.
time. Yeah.
So at some point in time in 2009, I attended a healing school in one of the
Okay.
ministries in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and my face was very stirred up. And for the first time in about 2 years, I drove again.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I could see, but with my pair of glasses.
I was going to ask about
scene
that because
changes to a
all of
close-up of the lady
and I've got a
host.
few questions. I want to go back to the part of the surgeries and their location. I'm thinking that perhaps it was in Nigeria. I want to go back to the fact that you mentioned about the medication and their validity,
Yeah.
right? And then I just wanted to ask about, so what other preemptive things did you utilize? Like, you never talked about glasses, so corrective lenses and things like that. So I wanted to ask about that because as we think through, again, your story is a pivotal one to share every day, all year round, but particularly, like I said, October in the US being Vision Awareness Month.
Yeah.
There were a few things you said that I don't know that we've got the time for it, but we would at least touch on it. The role of even parents, right? The role of parents, and when you know better, you do better, right? I'm sure mommy, bless her soul, wherever she is, wondering, what could I have done better? What could I have done differently? How could I have mitigated, where we are today? But if you had any advices for parents or even anyone seeing symptoms such as the one you have expressed and shared with us,
Yeah.
it should be immediate. Taking that child or that person going to seek for help, isn't it?
That's right.
Not ignoring it, not dismissing it,
That's right.
irrespective of there's the function of can you afford it too, right?
Yes.
Did
First,
that was that a play in your story in any way, do you
um,
think?
no, it
Okay.
wasn't.
The
First of
scene changes
all,
to a close up of Ciego.
I hold nothing, and I held nothing against my
Against mom.
mom
Yeah.
then. And the reason is this: even though for the left eye, it wasn't caught early,
Mm.
but for the right eye that was caught early, it still couldn't be stopped.
Mm.
So even if we had caught the left eye early, it might not have been stopped. Do you get my point?
I
So,
totally, yeah.
did I go on?
Yes, yes,
So,
please.
so
I get your
yeah.
point.
So
Yeah,
it might not have
I
been,
get it.
we might not have been able to stop it, or stop the eyes from getting worse. The only thing that probably might say uh, was a regret was the fact that maybe I didn't know Christ then.
Mm, mm,
Maybe with that, I probably would have been able to nip in the bud.
mm.
But nevertheless, even after I knew Christ, and it still could not be stopped. So there are quite some questions you might be wondering: is it because, does it make me less of a Christian why that happened or not, or maybe I had less of faith? I don't think so. Sometimes when some things happen, you begin to ask questions:
Oh,
why did this
yes.
happen to
To
me?
me.
Now, my answer to that is it happened to me because I could handle it.
God doesn't give you more than you can handle.
Yes. So
Yes.
because I could handle it, that's why
Mm-hmm.
it happened to me. So, and back to your question about nipping in the bud, if you probably, first of all, sometimes those symptoms don't appear.
Mm.
It's just like I keep relating it to, the blood pressure.
Yeah.
So your blood pressure might be high
And I've
without you
heard that's even
realizing
a
it.
silent killer,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with glaucoma.
Mm.
It's a silent killer of the eye.
Of the
So
eye.
so if the blood pressure is high, you might not know it until you probably check. Or in some severe cases where you're probably feeling dizzy or you experiencing a headache maybe at the
Mm-hmm.
back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with the eye, same thing with glaucoma. Sometimes you don't feel any pain, and sometimes the pain may be there. There are two types of glaucoma.
Yeah, as
You
you
have the
said.
acute glaucoma, which the person might wake up one day with a sharp pain and the sight is gone, just like that. Now you have the chronic one, which is the progressive type, that the eyes begin or the optic nerves begin to kind of like, degenerate, and the nerves begin to cut off, bit by bit
Mm-hmm.
until the vision is gone or the sight is gone completely, or sometimes, partially. So my piece of advice for anyone, because you just may not feel any pain, is to check your eyes or just have regular checks with an optometrist or
Yes.
an ophthalmologist to
Mm-hmm.
check the intraocular pressure. So maybe every year, maybe once a
Every
year.
year, I was
Now,
going
for
to say,
anyone
yeah.
who's probably been diagnosed with glaucoma, should probably have the eyes checked regularly, maybe once a month, maybe every 2 months, depending on.
Oh, is
Now,
it?
I'm not a doctor, but that's
Obviously,
just my
yeah,
opinion
The
yeah,
scene
to
yeah.
have the
changes to
eyes
a
We're
checked
close
not
up of the
regularly.
dishing
lady
medical
host.
advice here.
So
Yeah, no, totally. And is it hereditary? Can it be in your family? Um, you know,
okay, let me put it this way.
yeah,
Um, you did biology in school, didn't you?
a little bit.
Okay, so basic
Was I
biology,
paying
right?
attention? Yeah,
Basic biology. So
yeah.
now
The scene
any
changes to a
trait
close up of Ciego.
can be hereditary. It's just that it may be recessive in a generation and it may be
Ah,
dominant in
in
another.
others. Yeah, got it.
So I
Mm-hmm.
may not be able to answer that question that it was hereditary in my case, but generally, glaucoma is actually predominant in, to be politically correct now, in African Americans, Afro Caribbeans,
Yes.
um,
Africans.
Africans, and Hispanics.
Mm, mm.
That could come at any age. Now, I'll give you a fact for free. You know Ray Charles?
Yeah.
In my research for a solution to the problem there when I had sight, That was when I found out that Ray Charles actually lost his sight at the age of 7 to glaucoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to tell you that at a young age, um, colored people can have glaucoma, but it's not very common in Caucasians at a younger age.
That's a younger
But
age.
anyone can have it
Anyone can
at
get it.
an older age.
So
The scene
more
changes to a
personally
close-up of the
for
lady
you,
host.
you had this condition that led to you being spectacularly VIP. Very important. Yeah. But so what measures do you take with your kids, for example? What advice do you even give your wife, right? Because as I prepared for this, I kept thinking about you and the fact that obviously I got introduced to you through my husband
Yeah.
who you went to school with. That's
Yeah.
the connection, everyone out there listening. And you had your sides going through that period of your life. So I suspect that, and that's where the question of, you know, genes and a family history came up for me. Um, you're not related to your wife in that sense,
No.
except by marriage.
That's
What
right.
do you tell her? What advice would you give her using her as an example for our listeners out there? And then for your kids, knowing that, to your point, biologically, it could be recessive, it could be dominant. What do you do with them to ensure that, their vision and their vision health? And, we all understand how vision health is, but it's one of those things that we shelve to the side. We put, you know, I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
We're meant to have our eye test yearly.
Mm.
And sometimes it's media that I'm like, oh, we need to schedule this because other physicals are more important. My mammograms are more important.
That's right.
Yeah. So advice.
Okay, so
The scene
I'll take
changes to a close-up of
the latter
Ciego.
question.
Yeah.
For in the case of my children, I have their eyes checked, or we have their eyes checked every 6 months,
Good.
right?
Yeah.
And so just to check, okay, if there's anything wrong aside glaucoma or any other ailment,
Mm.
and thankfully they are fine
Thank
because I'm
God.
aware of the fact that glaucoma could be hereditary.
Hereditary.
Now, one thing I did was to put a stop to that, and I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The moment my wife was pregnant with my daughter, I started speaking to her, to the unborn child,
Oh, yes.
right?
Oh,
That
yes.
whatever ailment I might have had,
Amen.
they would never have it.
Amen.
Same thing with my daughter, same with my son.
Son.
So as far as I'm concerned, that spiritual part has been taken care of.
Amen.
But we need to do our part.
Faith without works
yeah,
is
so-
dead.
Exactly.
It's
So
dead.
medically,
Yes.
we take them for regular checks, and it's what I'll probably just tell anybody watching out there: get your children's eyes checked, even yours. You get your eyes checked because it can happen at any time.
Mm.
It can happen at any time. So that's how I have actually kind of like tackled that in case of my children. Though for my wife, I'm not really sure what to say about that, but she's kind of used to me living with a condition, having to do things around the house. Sometimes
Having to cook. You guys,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a
The scene
chef.
changes to
Yeah.
a close-up of the lady host.
That's where Seago Supreme comes from.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
so,
right.
so we're getting into the lighter piece now, and we're almost at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
But I'm going to come to your wife, who I just think is a rock star. I just, I'm sure you agree with me,
Yeah.
but I just think she is. I don't have the words. She's courageous. When you talk about loyalty, this is the test of it, isn't it?
That's right.
We'll come to it in a bit, but and it will be interesting to know where she came in this whole journey.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to something you also said and that you touched on very briefly about finding God, because again, here on the Talks with podcast, we want to lend our voice to the conversation with a godly perspective, because that's the lead pad, I always say, from which we come and from which we approach all of life's issues, right? You talked about the fact that when you found God, your faith was just heightened, and you were even able to drive, right, again,
Yeah.
you know and you attended a healing school and all of that good stuff. Now we're praying that there's a lot of clarity for people. We're praying there's a lot of hope in this season, where importantly we want to share a lot of wisdom, right, and highlight what people can do readily. But let's talk about the Christian aspect of things, and how we know our God is a miracle worker. We know that, faith without works is dead. We just spoke about that. So we're not just going to sit in church or at that healing school
Yeah.
and not actually seek medical help, right?
That's
It
right.
goes hand in hand.
That's right.
But here you are, you're still VIP.
Mhm.
How has that tested? Because I'm hearing a lot of clarity of faith, if that even makes sense
Yeah.
with your story.
Yeah.
That's almost an oxymoron. That's, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
But I hear a lot of clarity of faith. I hear, where we're both from, the southern part of Nigeria, there's a saying that translates loosely to eyes of the heart. Right, right. Eyes of the heart, right? That also springs up for me.
Mm.
But many of us as Christians, we say, woe is me, I'm doomed. People look at us and say, and she says she's a Christian. The test of the proof of the proof of the pudding is for everything to go swimmingly well for us.
Yeah.
Talk to us a bit about that, please.
Okay. So
The scene
first
changes
of
to a
all,
close-up of
that wasn't
Ciego.
what Christ promised us.
Mm.
I mean, because he said, many are the afflictions of the righteous,
But God
right?
will
But
deliver you from them all.
yeah, exactly. So, and he never promised us it was going to be a chocolate fudge.
Yeah. Mhm.
But one thing we also should bear in mind in the Bible is that God's will for us
Mm.
is to have sound mind. And if you're having a sound mind, it has to do with your whole well-being, your
Total.
physical well-being, your mental well-being, and every other thing connected with it. So it's not God's will for anyone to live with
An
any
ailment.
ailment.
Yeah.
But for me, I had that paradigm shift after some time.
Mm.
First of all, I came to the knowing of Christ because I wanted to receive my healing.
Mm.
But later, I realized that, look, I got sold out, whether I have my sight back or not.
And I love that honesty. So I want to thank you for
The scene
saying
changes
that.
to a close-up
I
of the
really
lady
want to,
host.
because sometimes something chases you or takes you to God, to go looking. I'm here because, I'm single. I'm here because, there's a problematic child. I'm
Yeah.
here because of my vision. But at some point, the focus should change to relationship, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't about initially, like I said initially, it was
Mhm.
about okay, I was led to Christ
The scene
because
changes to a close-up of
the
Ciego.
eye
What he can
condition
do
of,
for you.
or what he could do for me.
Yeah.
But with time, I realized the love of God for me. And for me, it wasn't just about me seeing again. I got sold out with the sovereignty of God. Whether I see again or not, he doesn't change who he is. He's God all by himself.
He remains sovereign.
I've loved him whether I receive my sight back
Or no.
or not. Is God doesn't change anything.
Mm.
So I'm the loser if I say, "Oh God, you know what? You're not giving me back my sight.
I'm done.
I'm done with you."
Mm.
So, for me, that's my story, and I I just felt I needed to live my life like every other person, and at the same time, I decided to live extraordinarily.
Mm.
Now, it
Mm.
may sound, hunky dory now, but I tell you, I had my low moments.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I did.
That's
The scene
honest.
changes
I
to a
That's
had my
close up
real.
of
low
the lady
Yeah.
moments.
host.
There were nights I would cry myself to sleep. There were nights I had
The scene
questions
changes to a
for
close up
him.
of
Why
Ciego.
me?
Why me?
Why take anything else but not my sight,
Yeah.
right?
At some point in time, let me shock you.
Please.
In 2014.
This was 7 years in from the
Oh
timelines you
yes,
just gave us.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of issues, different things in my career. He wasn't moving as expected for obvious reason.
Mm.
And I was in a society where there was not much regard for anyone living with a disability.
Mm.
So that
Let's just
affected.
call it what it is, the Nigerian African society,
Yeah, I know,
where
but
you're almost
yeah,
discarded.
but things are changing now.
Thank goodness
Thanks
for
to
that.
some
Yeah.
advocates.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
are changing. The awareness is there. People are more aware. There's more inclusion.
Yes.
So things are changing. In Nigeria. So for me, at some point in time in 2014, things were just not going right. And at that point in time, I knew it was wrong to take my own life.
Oh.
Oh yes, I was
Oh.
at that lowest moment of my life, and I told God, I said, God, you know what? Take me home.
Mm.
When I'm home, you don't need to see.
Mm.
You don't go with optical eyes when in heaven.
Hmm.
So it was that bad. So then I braced this. Let me backtrack again.
Please.
So
Yeah.
I had my low moments. I thought everything was over. I lost everything. Before I got married, I had a fiance. I had a car. I had a nice car, but I couldn't drive it.
So your
Yeah.
fiance, not your wife now,
No, not my wife. now.
someone else.
Someone else I was
That's
seeing.
another podcast episode. Oh my God.
Someone else I was seeing. In her own way, she tried her best. She was as good as she could, but I'm not saying she left me because of what happened to me. Maybe not, but maybe it just was not ordained to be.
Or to
So-
your point, maybe
The
she
scene
wasn't
changes to a
built
close
for
up of
it.
the lady host.
You remember you saying that God gave, perhaps you're fit for this purpose. Like God knew you could handle it,
Yeah.
right? Maybe she couldn't.
I'm not
The scene
gonna-
changes
I'm
to
not
a
gonna
close-up of
speak about
Ciego.
Comment
that,
on that, yeah.
right? Because first of all, she's not here to tell her story.
I respect
and
that.
We
I respect
I
that.
never had the chance to ask her.
I
But at some
respect
point
that.
in time when the condition started, she was still with me, but eventually a few months down the line, we parted ways.
Ways.
But I'm not gonna kind of like, adduce to that fact that it was because I stopped seeing, or maybe because I lost my car, because I lost everything, that she left.
She left.
But sometimes it's all part of a story.
Yes.
So it makes it
yes.
more fun to tell. So I would say I lost everything. I was at my lowest moment. So I would close from work and I would survive on a bottle of Coke and a loaf of bread all weekend. It was that bad. Oh yeah, it was that bad. I couldn't cut my hair. I used to comb my hair with a fork.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I couldn't even go to buy a comb to comb my hair. So, but after some time, I thank God for the spirit I have.
Resilience.
Yes. If there's any other word to call it, I could not be broken again. First of all, Christ was broken for my sake. So, and
Amen.
I got to that point
Mm.
where
Our
I knew I could
chastisement
not
on
be
his
broken again.
shoulders. Amen.
So I had to pick myself up. I'll put it that way. I had to pick myself up. I had to encourage myself,
In the Lord, just like
just like
David.
David.
Mm,
And I started living again.
mm, mm.
I started living again. And I trained myself in a lot of things. I couldn't cook again because I loved cooking right from when I was a kid. I used to watch um, TV shows on cooking, even up till the early 2000s when I still had sight. I used to
Yeah.
watch a guy called Ainsley Harriott on BBC Foods.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
I loved cooking, but I couldn't do that anymore. I remember then the first time I attempted to cook, I got my fingers burnt,
Of course.
literally.
Of course. Or you
I
cut something.
no. I
Or
can
there's
tell
blood
you.
in the food. or
No. And I can tell you, I say this with every sense of modesty and humility. In 17, 18 years I lived in this condition, I've never cut my finger once.
You're joking.
No, never,
Yeah.
never.
I can tell you, I cut my fingers all the time.
Not once.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I was trying to fry plantain. It's out there, one of my videos on the
On
channel.
Seago Supreme.
Seago
Yeah.
Supreme, where I told my story. I was trying to fry plantain. I'd not mastered it. I was so I was
Hot oil,
placing
everyone. Hot oil.
yeah, I was placing the plantain
What?
in the pan in the oil. I didn't know when my finger go in contact with the oil. So that was the
Oh,
first
wow.
time I got my finger,
Burnt.
fried. So, but after some time, I had to kind of like, train myself, know how to do things and know how not to do things. I had to be quite methodical. I had to be more organized. And before, the advent of AI and smart technology,
Yeah.
I had to
Voice
rely,
over. Yeah.
so I had to rely on my memory. And that's one thing I thank God for that He's blessed me with.
Amen.
I don't forget anything.
Wow.
If I hear your voice 10 years from now, I'll know it's you. I won't forget your name. So I had to kind of like, train myself in doing that. And one thing which a lot of people probably think that once you've probably lost one sense, the other ones automatically heighten. No, that's not true.
I was going to
The
ask
scene
about
changes
that
to a
because
close-up of the
we
lady
thought
host.
for my dad, we talked about this before the recording itself started. My dad lost his vision temporarily, and the rest of his senses were so heightened. I mean, we thought we could always fool him and, pull a fast one. And,
No,
he would hear us from a mile away and,
Yeah.
things like that. So that's inaccurate.
no, it's not. It's not accurate. It's
The
because
scene changes to a
he
close-up
had
of
to
Ciego.
pay more attention.
Dig deep. Yeah.
So
It-
we're in this room
yeah.
now, and
Mm.
there are sounds you're not paying attention to, but I can pick them.
The humming of and oh, you know
The
what?
humming, even sounds of birds from outside. I'm sure you wouldn't hear that, but I can. That's because I've trained myself.
Oh my God.
The scene changes to a
this is so
close-up of the lady
true.
host.
And I think, just for our listeners out there, so we're talking and engaging with this amazing story that Nee has to share. I'm in awe, I'm inspired, I'm motivated. Please check him out on his YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok handle, Seago Supreme.
That's right.
And in just prepping for this, I was like, there's so many things going on around us that we are not intentional about.
That's right.
So I think it fits into what you're talking about, where because of all of the noise, we're not still in connecting with every piece of what's going on. And perhaps for the visually impaired, you have no choice but to lean into. But that's awareness for even those of us with our sights to know that, my husband told me a story last night that you shook hands with someone and you commented on the texture of their hands
That's
and
right.
how it's velvety. I don't pay attention to things like that. I shake, I'm ready to, I would probably say, oh, I love your shirt, or you look so beautiful, or I'll tell you about who you look like. But
Yeah.
beyond that, that's as far as I
Yes,
would
I
go.
know. I know. So,
The scene
just like you
changes to
said,
a
it's
close up of
about you
Ciego.
training the other senses, right? Someone passes by you, you perceive the person's fragrance.
Fragrance.
You might dismiss it, but if you are into perfumes, you might be able to tell, oh, she's wearing a floral note, or she's wearing
Yeah.
a woody
A
note.
woody note. Yeah.
That's because you
Musk.
pay more
Yeah,
attention,
to
right?
it.
So, for instance, for me, if I shake your hand, I can have an idea of what you look like.
Wow.
Oh yeah, your body structure, your facial structure, it gives me an idea of what you look like. Sometimes I can even tell the color of your hair.
Wow.
So that's it for how I was able to would I call it rehabilitate myself?
It is a rehabilitation, a
Because
reorientation.
another one thing I can tell you about visual loss is I don't think anyone prepares you for it. What I can tell about myself, no one prepared me for it. No one told me how hard it was going to be. No one did. So then comes the hallucination. I don't know about any other, sight loss, but for glaucoma, you probably tend to hallucinate. You see things. So, but it does not mean you're crazy. No, you're not. It's just your brain playing like videotapes. It's playing those videotapes. So sometimes I'll probably wake up and I'm staring at the TV. I can't really see anything, but there's a mental imagery that is created, and I'm seeing people on TV, and the TV is not on.
Oh my goodness.
So it seems you probably could call it hallucination in quote, but it's not. And it doesn't mean that anybody living with that, or you probably see that and you think, oh, you're going crazy or you're losing your marbles. No, you're not. It's just part of the script.
Thank you for being so candid.
The
And
scene
reason
changes
I
to a
keep
close-up
saying
of the
that
lady
is
host.
because, sometimes we Christians, we are not self-serving with the reality of the work, if you will, WRK, that goes into pulling yourself up, by the bootstraps, pulling yourself up from, any pit you fall into. Miracle needs your engagement as well in most times, on most occasions, right? The Bible says, come unto me, ye who you labor and you're heavy. You have to come, right? So for that miracle to happen. So I just appreciate the fact that you're talking about the lowest depths that you fell into. How you lost everything and you have to rebuild. In the world that we're in, even in our Christian spaces, we talk about this instant gratification of the fast turnaround. We want it now. The world and its expectation has crept into Christianity, and maybe it's the responsibilities of the leaders in church to reshape that narrative for people to say there is a work you have to do. Just because you're still in the doldrums does not mean you can't come back again, or we won't be patient enough to help you out of that pit. But I appreciate the fact that you're saying, I was in the lowest of low. I contemplated suicide.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry for cutting you.
The
Yeah.
scene changes to a close-up
did
of
contemplate
Ciego.
Oh, you
suicide,
didn't?
But I knew it was wrong if I
But you
took my
said,
own life.
oh,
but
you knew it was wrong, but you
I told
pleaded
God
with God. Right.
to
Okay,
take me
got it.
away.
Okay, so you
The
didn't
scene
want to do
changes
it,
to a
but
close-up
you
of the
were
lady
still
host.
at that low point where you
Yes.
were like anything but
Yeah.
remaining here,
Yeah.
which is an inspiration for, unfortunately, even in Christendom, we know of people that have committed suicide
Mm.
because they just couldn't go on anymore. And for someone like you referenced, was that music, Ray Charles, and the fact
Yeah.
that he lost his sight when he was 7. You had longer years where you saw the world and all of its beauty.
Mm.
And I suspect that that must have contributed to the low you felt when you then couldn't see anymore
Yes.
because you've lived with it for so long.
Yes.
So we can rise again is what
Oh yeah.
what I wanted to just highlight from everything you just said.
Yeah, that's right. We can
The
rise
scene
again.
changes
The
to a
fact that
close-up
you
of
lose
Ciego.
anything does not mean you can't regain something.
Mm, mm,
So sometimes some things happen to us and we probably just think, oh, how am I gonna live my life again? And I tell you, at some point in time when I still had my sight,
yeah.
one of my greatest fear was losing it.
Hmm.
But I can tell you it's not as bad as I thought then.
Hmm.
It's not as bad as I had my fears of, how would the society see me? How would my
Yes.
friends see me?
Mhm.
How would people accept me? But I
What's
don't
your
think
place in
nothing
society?
much has changed. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not um okay for first of all, some people say if it's worse if you probably had sat before and you not lose it than if you never had at
Had
all.
it, yeah.
And I'll prove you wrong.
Hmm.
There's a certain man in the Bible called blind
Bartimaeus.
Bartimaeus, right? He was when Jesus was walking and people were calling on him and he shouted, "Son of David, son of David, have mercy on
Have
me."
mercy on me, yeah.
Now, he had never sinned before.
Hmm.
Why was he asking for mercy? Now, Jesus Christ knew, of course, Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He was God all knowing,
Mm.
and he knew he was blind. But he asked him, he said, "What do you want from me?"
Hmm.
And he said, "So that I may receive my sight." So that tells you something that he missed something. He had never seen before, but he knew he was missing something.
Something, yeah.
And he wanted it back.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Christ said, "Okay, fine. Go ahead. You can have your
You
sight."
can have it. Yeah.
So it's understandable when people say, "Okay, fine, it's not so bad," or maybe it's not as bad as if you've probably, sinned
Just
before.
what
Now
I
you've
just
sinned.
insinuated.
Yeah. So both
Okay.
cases are not, bottom line is
They're
you
not
just don't want
palatable.
to,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
palatable. It's not something
Yeah.
you want to probably kind of like, experience, especially when you're living with a painful type of glaucoma, when you're feeling pain 24 hours of a day.
Yeah.
So, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, I can tell you that living with it, it's not like I'm, gloating in it or I'm saying this is how I want to be, but I've learned to have a different definition to life
Hmm.
about living with the condition.
You're not a sum
The scene
total of
changes to
your
a close-up
vision,
of the lady
right?
host.
So I know
Mm.
people have
The
counseled.
scene
I
changes
know
to a close-up of
people have
Ciego.
encouraged in their careers, in everyday living, in rehabilitation, people that even sponsor their medical bills.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I lost mine. I don't want other people to lose theirs. So for those that can't afford it, I pay for the medical. Some people I pay for the medical bills, and so they can actually, keep their sight.
On that
The
point,
scene
and I'll go
changes to a
back
close-up
to
of the lady
something else I
host.
wanted to touch on, which was the medications that are
Yeah.
the shoddy ones.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned its component in your story
Yeah.
in any event. Um, what's the watch out for people, especially? And I know we always maybe want to talk about developing countries like, on the African continent, Nigeria, for example,
Mm.
but the issues persists anywhere, really. How can people verify that they're utilizing, or they have access to the right medication? I know in developing countries it's more prevalent, where the scams are prolific.
Yeah.
It's all over. You probably have a higher percentage of fake drugs versus the real
The real ones.
deal.
Yeah.
How can people navigate that?
Honestly
The scene changes to
speaking,
a close-up of
I
Ciego.
can't really say how, but one thing, a certain chunk of that responsibility lies on the government
Mm.
in clamping down on these mediocrities. For instance, we have the Drug Administrative Control Agency in where we come from. I know a certain lady, blessed memory now. She
Yes.
did her part. She
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
so well in combating
Yeah.
fake drugs and some of these things. So I think her works should be carried on, whereby you clamp down on these fake drugs. If you probably find anyone selling them, you don't just shut down that outlet. You investigate.
Yeah. Because
How did you get them?
there's 15 more
Yeah, so you need
branches
to
of
probably
that.
get to the
Yeah.
roots of how those fake drugs
Spring
are
up.
being put in the system.
And maybe an appeal for those, just thinking about lining their pockets in the interim. It's at the expense of people's lives, and
Well, you may want to appeal, but
they're not
it's
they're
like
not
pouring
driven.
it's like pouring water on
I
duck
know.
feathers,
Mm,
because they know that.
they shake
And
it
one
off,
thing
and
is, even their own family members may be victims.
absolutely.
So for the financial gains you have now, and at the end of the day, you probably have other people that are destroying their lives.
Their
It's not
lives.
until you probably can, like, put a gun to someone's head, or you pull the trigger, that you've killed someone.
That you've killed
You're
someone.
destroying lives of so many people.
Hmm.
So
Oh, wow.
until people have that consciousness and that a repentance of heart, to know that, look, it's not about gaining
A temporary,
material things,
yeah,
or
material gain.
money from doing wrong things.
Oh.
So that's what I can say about that. By the time I I went to that hospital, that specialist hospital in London,
Yes,
in 2007, it will shock you, the pressure in my left eye was 66.
versus what should it have been?
The highest should have been 20.
20. Yeah.
66.
Mm.
And I was still using the
medications, yeah.
supposed top brand.
Which was the flack you got
The scene
back
changes to a close-up
those
of the
many
lady
years
host.
ago, where they thought you were slacking off not using it,
Um,
and you
it-
were using it judiciously.
Well, I may not be able
The
to
scene
answer
changes
that
to a close-up of
because,
Ciego.
I just can't explain that, because it worked at first. And if you ask me, I'll just tell you, fine, we know that ailments are not from God, right? But I can tell you that glaucoma is from the pit of hell.
Mm,
Oh, yeah.
mm,
It's from the pit of hell.
mm, mm.
How do you explain it? Something that's claimed one sight, and the pain is still there.
It's still there. My God.
You don't stop using the medication. If you don't instill the eye drops, the pressure will go up again.
Mm.
What more does it want? It's taking the sight. The optic
Oh.
nerves are destroyed, but the pain is still there. Even when the pressure is low, the pain is still there. How do you explain that?
Mm. And
The scene
we'll
changes to a
end,
close-up of the lady
it's a
host.
somber place to end. Because believe it or not, we're almost at that 1 hour mark, but it's a somber place to end. But I still feel like, it's a great place to end
Yeah.
because we're talking about just the entirety of your journey to being visually impaired.
Yeah.
That transition from being born with your full, complete sight to where we are now. But if we look at, and just to merge it well with the Talks With podcast and what we try to do, if we look at John 9,
Yeah.
this story, this real life account of Jesus saying that the man that was born blind was what? So that God's glory may be revealed,
That's
or
right.
it may
Like,
be on full
yeah.
display,
Yeah.
amplified, right? And you've really touched on it at different points here, where you've said, God could trust you. He knew you could handle it. You've spoken about your growth and even your faith journey, how you just leaned in to say, even if you don't heal me, I'm still here.
That's right.
Lines up beautifully with the story of Job. His wife said, curse God and die. He said, even if you slay me, right? So talk to us in rounding up about how, I feel like I know the answer, how the glory of God is being displayed in your life. You spoke about a little, you are now a philanthropist. You do your bit in, helping others. You're living a full life. You're married. You have
That's right.
kids. You've got Ciego Supreme. You raise funds. You cook.
Yeah.
There's nothing missing. You have peace of mind.
That's
But
right.
talk to us a little bit more about that, and speak pointedly to our listeners, even as you wrap up, about vision awareness, your story, and how you're hoping they can, at least take something away from this conversation to positively impact their lives.
Okay, so thanks for
The
that.
scene changes to
What
a
I can
close-up of
probably just
Ciego.
say in summary is, no matter what you're going through,
Mm.
it's never too late. First of all, it's never too late to turn to Christ.
Amen.
Even if you are in Christ, it's never too late to be whatever you want to be.
Hmm.
Do you know the only thing that can stop you
You.
is you?
You.
The scene cuts to a
Mm.
wide
I
shot
tell
showing
I
both Ciego
tell
and the host.
my
The scene
my
changes to a
wife and
close-up of
children one
Ciego.
thing: nothing can stop me. And I tell them that. I tell my children, you can be whoever you want to be. You can be anything you want to become.
Hmm.
I may be blind, but that doesn't make me. It's not who I am.
Mm.
It doesn't define me. It's
Yes.
just what I am.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you probably lost your job, you probably think you can't get another job again because your CV is not good enough or because you don't have the right skill set. No, you can be whoever you want to become. You've lost this, you've lost that. You can start again.
Hmm.
The main focus is Him,
Is God.
and that's God Almighty, and that has been the source of my strength.
Mm.
Oh yeah. It may sound easy said, or easier said
Easier said
than
than
done.
Yeah.
But if I'm telling you my story, I mean, I've been there. I've experienced it. I've walked through the valley of the shadow
Of the
of death.
literal shadow of death. Of the literal
Yeah.
shadow.
So that's my submission.
The scene cuts to a
Thank
wide
you.
shot showing
Oh
both
my
Ciego
goodness.
and the
Thank
host.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
The
you
scene
so
changes
much.
to
And
a
I
close-up
just,
of the lady host.
pray that the faith you're anchored on, does not fall off, continues to
Amen.
give you that
Amen.
support,
Amen.
and it's lasting and it remains, and that God's glory just continually shines through you.
Amen.
So that's been our special episode for the month of October, which is Vision Awareness Month in the USA. My VIP, very important guests has been Niyi Owade, Adeniyi Owade.
That's correct.
And he's also visually impaired. But as we heard, that's not the sum total of who he is. But he has been amazing in just talking to us about his story. Hopefully someone was encouraged. Hopefully you're inspired. And hopefully you can get up and just say, if he can do it, there's no reason for me to sit here and there's nothing stopping me. So thank you all. Thank you again, Niyi, my bro. God bless you. We're doing another episode, so watch out. And yes, another episode coming soon to Instagram at The Talks with Pod, or to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, where we are The Talks with Podcast. God bless you all and see you soon.
Text appears on screen. Thank you for watching.